Hello, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Vaishnavi. How are you, Vaishnavi? How are you, everyone? Good evening, Anugya. Good evening, Emmanuel. Okay, is the screen visible to everyone? Good evening, Karthik. Karthik, I'm glad that you are attending the live sessions. Good evening, Parth. Good evening, Savleen. Savleen, thank you so much for attending today's live session. Okay, so let's start with our today's session. So, yesterday we learned how to store data using dictionaries, and we saw that we can store complete information about a patient, such as their ID, their name, their age, or their genes inside a single variable. But storing data is not enough. Imagine, for example, you are working in a hospital or you are working in a genomics lab. So you're writing a program. So that program should be able to make decisions. For example, if the patient age is greater than 18 or is it equal to 18, then your program should automatically display that this patient is an adult. Or for example, there is a DNA sequence and it is longer than 1000 nucleotides. Means that DNA sequence contain 1000 bases of ATGC. So your program should display that it is a long sequence. Let's take another example. For example, there is a gene BRCA1. So your program should automatically display that what is this gene related to. For example, this gene BRCA1, it is related to cancer gene. Okay, so your program should automatically display, means your program should take some decisions. So this is exactly what we are going to learn today, that how can Python make these decisions. So Python, it provides us conditional statements. Now what is this conditional statement? So a conditional statement is used to make decisions in a program based on whether a condition is true or false. Means a conditional statement, it allows Python to choose what to, means to choose what code to display, means what code to execute. For example, let's again one more time, let's take our daily life example. Okay, so for example, it is raining today. So if it is raining today, what you will do? You will carry an umbrella, right? That means you are executing this code, carry an umbrella. But if it is not raining, you will not carry an umbrella, means you are executing another block of code, do not carry an umbrella, right? So for example, if we are hungry, we eat food. If we are not hungry, we make another decision to not eat food, right? So if you notice something here, the keyword if, every decision it starts with if. So Python here, it also works the same way. It first checks a condition. So if a condition is true, Python will execute a particular block of code, and if a condition is false, so it will skip that code and it will execute another block of code. So I think we should get some idea about what is conditional statements in Python. So to make decisions in Python, we use conditional statements, and in Python, there are three main keywords which are used to make conditional statements. And these are if, else, and elif. So here, elif means else if. So it is a short form of else if. Okay, so today we are going to use these three keywords. So always remember that whenever you want to create conditional statements in Python, these are the three keywords that you will only use. Okay, so are we clear with these three keywords? If, else, and elif. And elif means else if. Okay, so first of all, let's see this if keyword, how we can make a conditional statement using this if keyword. So first of all, let's make a variable. Let's make a variable age and let's assign it a value 20. Now, as I said that to make a conditional statement, these are the three keywords that we use, and firstly, we are going to see this keyword. So here I'm going to use this keyword if. Okay, so what is this? It is a keyword to create a conditional statement. And now we are going to give some condition, because as I explained, if a condition is true, Python will execute that code. If the condition is false, Python will skip that code. Okay, so here after using this keyword if, let's give a condition. So condition that I am giving is if age is greater than and equal to 18. So do you understand this condition? That I am giving this condition that the value of age should be greater than or it should be equal to 18. Do we remember this operator? We learned about this in the operator session. Do we remember this operator? Very good, Sayali. So here, this is the syntax how to create a conditional statement. First of all, use the keyword, give your condition, and at the end, add colon. Okay, this is the syntax to create a conditional statement. Now, after you add colon, press enter. So as soon as you press enter, you will write what should Python execute. What code Python should need to execute. So here I want Python to print you are an adult. Okay, first of all, now let's come back to this colon here. I said that as soon as you add colon, you need to press enter, and when you will press enter, can you see this line? This line is here, I'm just pressing enter and this line is keep on increasing. And here, one more thing, can you notice this space here? If you see, there are four dots, means there are four tabs, which is called a space. So here, generally you can call it a space, but we actually call it indentation. Okay, the word is a little complex, but the meaning is very simple, that this is a space. Now, what is this indentation? First of all, if I remove this colon, here I have removed this colon, and here press enter. Here there is no indentation, right? So you can only get indentation after you add colon and press enter. So as you can see here, after colon, let's see one more time. Here I press enter, no indentation, but if I add colon, now there is indentation. Okay, so are we clear with the term indentation? It means space. Okay, so here, first of all, this is an if statement, because here we have used the keyword if. Okay, Paras, I will repeat it one more time. For now, I am explaining the syntax, the rule, how you have to create a conditional statement. Okay, so in this conditional statement, first of all, you will use the keyword, then you will give your condition, and at the end, whenever your condition ends, so at the end, you have to add this colon, because when you will add colon and when you will press enter, you will get some space here in the starting. So this space here, it is called indentation. If you do not add colon and if you press enter, you see there is no space now. Okay, are we clear with the term indentation, Paras? Yes. Okay. Now, here we have learned about the syntax, that this is the syntax how to write a conditional statement. Now, let's understand it. So, first of all, this is a if statement because we have used the keyword if. That is why this is called an if statement. Now, if this condition is true, if the value of age is greater than or equal to 18, that means this condition is true. Here the value of age is 20, right? It is greater than 18. So our condition here, it is true. So if this condition is true, Python will execute this code. Now, why will Python execute this code? Because this code is under this if block statement. Here you can see again if, let's press enter. Here I am pressing enter, so you are seeing this line. So this line represents that this line of code is under the if statement. So that is why Python will execute this print statement. So are we clear with this fact? Are we clear with this point? And if this condition is false, Python will skip this code. Python will not execute this code. Okay, so first of all, let's run this program. So here, what are we seeing? You are an adult. So Python here executed this line of code. Now, what if this condition is false? So let's make this condition false. Let's, for example, here change the value from 18 to 40. Now, this time the value of age is 20 and it is not greater than 40. That means our condition here is false, right? Our condition here is false. That means Python will skip this code and Python will not execute this code. So let's run this program. So here, what are we seeing? We are seeing nothing. Okay, are we clear how Python is executing and how Python is not executing this line of code based on whether this condition is true or whether this condition is false? Paras, this line means that your line of code, this code is under the if statement. This lines means this line of code is under the if statement. Is it clear, Paras? Okay, so here this was the first keyword that we saw, that we used here to create a conditional statement. Now let's see this second keyword else. So here, just as we saw that if this condition was false, Python just skipped this and Python printed us nothing and our terminal was empty. So sometimes we also want Python to do something even when the condition is false, and that is where we use this else keyword. So here we have written our first program, we have used the keyword if. Now this condition is false, that means in this case we will create an else statement. So here we have used the keyword else. Now we will add colon. Now what is the meaning of colon? That when we will press enter, we will see an indentation, and whatever code we will write here, it will come under the else statement. Okay, so let's write print you are minor. Okay, and here let's change the value. Let's change it 15 and let's write it again 18. Now, what will happen here? We have the variable age and its value is 15. We have created a conditional statement using the keyword if. We gave our condition and our condition is false. The value of age, which is 15, it is not greater than 18. That means Python will skip this code. Then Python will move on to line number 12, which is the else statement, which means if this condition is false and Python skips this line of code, so Python will execute this line of code. Okay, if this condition is false, then execute this line of code. Print you are minor. So here our condition is false. Let's run it. So what are we saying? We are saying Python executed the else statement, you are minor. So let's make age 55 here. Now the value of age is greater than the value of 18, right? Now our condition is true. Now what will happen? Python will execute this line of code. So let's run again. So here we are saying you are an adult. Now let's write 18 here, because the operator that we have used also contain this equal to sign. That means if the value of age is equal to the value of 18, in that case as well, our condition here, it is true, and Python will execute this code. So let's run it. So here we are seeing you are an adult. So are we clear with these two keywords, how we created a conditional statement and Python is taking decision on its own which code to run and which code not to execute? Do we have any confusion with if and else keyword? Okay, very good everyone. Now our third keyword is elif. So elif here, it simply means else if. It is a short form of elif. Okay, so let's create one more conditional statement. So here I'm creating variable marks and let's assign the value 75. Now, what happens that sometimes we can have more than two possible outcomes, right? You can have more than two possible outcomes at the same time, correct? So in that case, we use this keyword elif. So let's see, we have created a variable marks, we have assigned the value. So first of all, let's use the keyword if. So one more thing to always remember here, that you will always start with if keyword. Whenever you want to create a conditional statement, you will always start with the if keyword. You can never start with else keyword and you can never start with else if keyword. So as you can already understand, else means something else. If this is false, then continue with this. With else, we can understand its meaning in English, right? Else means something else. In the same way, elif means else if. So if this is wrong, then go with this or go with this. Are we clear with this, that you always have to start with if keyword? Now let's give a condition here. Let's write if marks are greater than or equal to 90. Okay, very good, Paras. Now let's see. Here we have created a conditional statement. We have written our condition that marks, that the value of marks should be greater than and equal to 90. Add colon, press enter. We have the indentation. That means this print statement belongs to the if keyword, this if code. So here we are writing that if the value of marks is greater than or equal to 90, then in this case, Python should print grade A. Okay, are we clear with this? Do we have any confusion with this code? Do we understand this code? Okay, now here, the total marks is 90. Now, it doesn't mean that every student will have marks 75 or greater than 90, correct? Some students can have marks 55. That means we have to give grade B as well. We have to give grade C as well, or we have to fail some students as well, right? That means we have more than two possible outcomes. So that is where we will use the keyword elif. But again, I will show you one more thing, that you can use if keyword as many times as you like. So here, instead of using elif keyword, firstly, I'm writing the if keyword. Okay. So here, let's write if marks are greater than and equal to 80. Then in that case, Python should print us grade B. Now let's write one more condition. Now here let's use the keyword elif. And here let's write marks greater than or equal to 70. Okay, add colon, press enter. So in this case, Python should print us grade C. Now, for example, all of our condition fails. This condition also fail, this condition also fail, and this condition also fail. So in that case, Python should print the else condition, means the else statement. And in else statement, let's write print, let's write fail. Okay, so first of all, tell me, do we understand this program? Shobit, I will explain it again. I will explain it. First of all, tell me, do we understand these conditional statements that we have written? The if statement and the else statement. Okay, so here we have written marks should be greater than and equal to 90. So what is the value of marks? It is 75. So is it greater than or equal to 90? It is not. That means this condition is false. So Python will skip this code. Then Python will move to line number 21 and Python will check this condition. So here marks again are not greater than 80 and they are not equal to 80. So here condition again fails. That means Python will skip this line of code. Then Python will move on to line number 24. So here the value of marks is greater than 70. So here our condition is true. That means Python will execute this line of code. So first of all, let's run this program. So here, what are we saying? Python executed this line of code because this condition was true. So here Python executed grade C. Now let's come back to this keyword elif. So here, as I said, that you can use as many as if keywords that you want, and you can use as many as elif keyword if you want. For example, if I remove elif and here, now this is a if statement, right? This is a if statement. I did not use the elif keyword. So let's run this again. So here we are saying Python executed this line of code because it was true. The condition was true. Now here let's write elif keyword here. Okay, so here I use the elif keyword. So elif means if you want to write more than two conditions. Okay, so you can use elif anywhere. If you don't want to use elif, that is also okay. You can just make if condition if you want. Okay, so are we clear? But the first thing is that you always have to create the if condition. So first of all, you will always use if condition. For example, if I write elif here. Now, can we see these red lines that my conditional statement is starting with elif? So this is a syntax error. This is not how we make a conditional statement. Are we getting it? So let's remove elif. So here, let's run this program. Let's run it. So here Python has executed this line of code. So as you can see, first I have if keyword, then I have elif statement, then again I have if statement. So you can write elif in between, but firstly you will always write if statement. Are we clear with this? Do we have any question in this program? Are we clear with these three keywords? If, else, and elif. And here this else program, as we can already understand its meaning in English, it will always be at the end. That if all of these program fails, all of these conditions are false, then Python should execute this line of code. Yes, Shifa, either you can write elif here, let's write elif here. Now I have two elif statement. You can use these keywords anywhere in between if or elif, but the only rule is you always have to start with the if keyword. Shravani, just as I have showed you, you can use if and elif keyword anywhere in the middle, but starting with if is mandatory. Okay, very good. Now let me show you one more example. Now here let's see how I am making a conditional statement with the user input. We remember the user input? So let's make a variable gene and here let's use input, and here let's write our prompt, enter gene name. Now, for example, you have a lot of information about a gene and you created a program that stores these information, and one day you don't remember that, for example, gene TP53, what is this gene, what is this gene related to? So you want to use your program and you want Python to tell you that this gene is related to this thing. So that is what we are going to do. Okay, so here, that is why we have used the function input, because we want user to write the gene name, right? If we directly write the gene name, that the program, it has no meaning, right? That will be hard coding. We remember the term hard coding. So here, that is why we are using the function input. Now let's create a conditional statement, first of all using the keyword if. So here, first condition that I am writing is if gene is equal to TP53. Now what we do at the end, we add colon. So do we remember this operator, that this is the actual equal to sign and this is the assignment operator? Do we remember this operator? Means left hand side is equal to right hand side. So okay, we are clear with this operator, we have no confusion. So here at the end we have added colon, press enter, and here let's write print that this gene is related to tumor suppressor gene. Okay, now let's create one more condition. Here let's use the keyword elif, and here let's write gene equal to BRCA1, add colon, press enter, give the statement that you want to print, and here let's write that this gene is breast cancer gene. And let's write one more statement here. Let's write else, that if both of these conditions are false, that in that case, Python should print us gene information not available. So first of all, tell me, do we understand this program? Does anyone has any confusion what this program means? So should I explain it again or should I just directly run the code? So if you have any confusion, you can just let me know in the chat box. Okay, Akshita, let's run this program. So here, let's run it. So here we have used the input function. So let's write the gene name. Let's write BRCA1. Now press enter. So here Python is showing us it is breast cancer gene. Let's run this program again. Let's write the gene name TP53. That I want to know what this TP53 gene is related to. Press enter. So Python is now showing us it is tumor suppressor gene. Now, what if I write a gene name that does not exist inside our code? So, for example, let's write the gene name CFTR. Okay, it is a gene. Now, this gene does not exist inside our program. So, what will happen? This condition is false. This condition is false. Now, Python have to execute this condition. So, press enter. So, now what is the output? Gene information not available. So are we clear how we used this input function to create a conditional statement? Is it clear, everyone? Paras, where do you want me to write 1, 2, 3, 4? Do you want me to write here? Let's run it. So if we write 1, 2, 3, 4, it does not exist inside our program. So again, Python will print us gene information not available. So here we are seeing gene information not available. Okay. Okay, so here what we did, we used a function here, input. Let's use one more function. If you remember in the strings, when we learned about strings, we learned about one function, length. So I want to use length function to create my conditional statement. So let's make a variable DNA. Again, let's use the function input because we want user to type something. Let's write enter DNA sequence. Now here, first of all, you tell me what should I write first of all here to create the conditional statement? What should I write here? Let me know. Very good, everyone. First of all, we write if. Now, as I have already told you that I want to use the length function. So here, let me write the length function, add parenthesis. Now, inside this length function, I will write the name of my variable DNA. So, if you have any confusion, let's see here in this print statement. Just like we are writing this print function and inside this parenthesis, we are giving the input. In the same way, we are using this length function and inside this parenthesis, we are giving our input. Okay, so it is just the same, but just we are looking it in a new way, so it can create some confusion, but again, it is the same thing. Okay, so here I have given this condition the length of my DNA. So let's complete this condition that the length of my DNA, it should be greater than and it should be equal to 10. This is my condition that whatever DNA sequence the user will enter, the length of it, it should be greater than and equal to 10. Now let's add colon, and if this condition is true, so in that case Python should print us long DNA sequence. Okay, let's make one more conditional statement. Let's write else, that if this condition is false, so in that case Python should print us short DNA sequence. Okay, now let's run this program. So here let's write ATGC. So what is the length of this DNA sequence? It is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That means this condition is going to get failed, right? So Python will execute short DNA sequence. So let's press enter. So here we are seeing short DNA sequence. Now let's run this program again. Now let's write a long DNA sequence. So I think it is greater than 10. Let's press enter. So now here long DNA sequence. So Python executed this line of code. So here I am showing you that here first of all we learned the simple examples here. The if statement, the else statement and the elif statement. So these conditional statements, they are not limited to here only. You can add as many functions as you want. So for example, here we added the input function. In our conditional statement here, we added the length function. So let's see one more example. Let's add methods. We learned about methods, right? Do we know what are methods? Who will tell me what are methods? Very good, Akshita. Append, remove. So these append is a list method, right? But tell me, can I use the list method here? Append is a list method. So can I use here the append method? Can I use it? Okay, very good, Ajay. Very good, Akshita. What is the reason why I can't use the append method here? What is the reason? And what are the methods can I use? Okay, very good, Paras. Append is to add. Okay, let me explain it. So here, if you remember, let's create a variable first again, DNA. Let's use this. So here, if you remember about the input function, this input function always stores the value as a string. Do we remember that this input function always stores the value as a string? That means this variable DNA is always storing the string. So if I write here DNA and if I add the dot operator, what are we seeing? We are seeing all the strings function. Do we remember all of these string functions? We use the count function, we use the find function, we use the index function. So here, when we add the dot operator, we are only seeing the string function. Why? Because this input function always stores the value in a string. That means we are not able to use other data type methods. So we will learn how we can do that if we want to use other data types method. So first of all, let's see how we can use the string method here inside a conditional statement. Okay, so first of all, let's use the if keyword. Now here, let's write the name of the variable, which is DNA, and how to call a method, we add dot. Now here, for example, I want to find, and what I want to find, I want to find ATG. So this ATG, let's consider that this is a start codon. Okay, so whatever DNA sequence the user will enter, from that DNA sequence, we want to find the start codon. So here we mentioned that ATG is a start codon. So here, let's complete this condition. Now, how should I find this ATG? I should have to give a condition. So here, if I write not equal to 1, and at the end we add colon. So do you understand what is the meaning of here -1? So do you understand what is the meaning of not equal to, the operator that we already understand, but this is the condition I have given. So does anyone understand the meaning of -1? Anyone? Okay, Akshita, what about others? So this is a trick question that I asked you. So if you have practiced the notes that I have given to you, the string notes where all the methods are available, if you had practiced that, you should have known what is the meaning of this -1 here. So that means you are not looking inside the notes. Okay, let me explain it to you. So for example, let's make a variable DNA and let's create a string ATGCGT. Okay, and here I want to find out ATG. So again, what we will do, let's write the print statement, let's write the variable DNA, let's add the dot operator, let's select the method find, and we want to find ATG. So first of all, tell me, when I will run this program, what will be the output? If I run this program, what will be the output? What does this find method does? Very good, Himani, very good part. It says that must have index. Okay, no path. Very good, Ajay. So here, what this method does, it returns us an index. So let's revise it again. Last time when we learned about this find method, we understood that this method, it returns us the index. That this substring, can I call it a substring? That this substring is starting from index number 0. So let's run it. So here it is the index number 0. Now what if I give a sequence, a substring that does not exist? So here I have written the substring GT, that I want to find GT inside this DNA sequence, and we can clearly see that this GT does not exist inside this string. So now tell me, what will be the output? Will it give me an error? Will it print me nothing, or will it show me something? Okay, very good, Sayali. What about others? Okay, let's run this program. So what are we seeing? We are seeing -1. So again, if you have taken a look in that notes, you should have known here what is the meaning of -1. So if a substring does not exist inside this string, so this find method, it return us -1. Okay, so if a string exists, for example t, so t exists here, it will return us an index. So here 0 1, t is on index number 1. But if I want to find this tt which does not exist, so this find method, it return us -1. So do we understand -1 now? Paras, we have learned about strings and the notes are uploaded on Google Classroom. Kindly take a look on Google Classroom. Everything is uploaded there. I also shared the notes in group as well of strings. Okay, so we understand -1, right? Now here, let's come back to this program again. Now, what is the meaning of this condition? That I want to find ATGC in the DNA sequence that the user will enter. Now, if that ATG, if this string, substring exists inside this DNA sequence, so this find method, it will return us some index, right? Now, what will be the value of that index? It can be 0, it can be 1, it can be 2, it can be 3, but it can never be -1, right? It will only return us -1 if this substring does not exist inside this DNA sequence. So here, this means this DNA dot find ATG, this program here, it finds us the index of this substring, and if that value should be not equal to -1, this is a condition that the index of this, it should not be equal to -1. So if it is not, the index value, if it is not equal to -1, that means our condition is true. So do we understand this line? How our condition is true? Do we understand this line, this condition that I have written? Do we remember this not equal to operator? So here 2 times equal to means equal to operator, and this exclamation mark and equal to sign means not equal to. So if this condition is true, in this case, Python should print us start codon found. Okay, now let's write one more condition. Let's write the else statement, that if this condition is false, then in that case, Python should print us start codon not found. Okay, so I have explained you how this condition is true. Now you explain me, how will this condition become false? In which case this condition will become false, because if this condition is false, only in that case Python will execute this line of code. Paras, I will explain it. First of all, who will tell me when will this condition become false? Very good, Akshita. If this substring is not present inside the DNA sequence that the user will enter, that means our condition is false, right? So in that case, this find method will return -1, right? In that case, if this substring does not exist here, just like we saw in the example here, so find method, it will return -1. Do we understand -1? So now what is the value of this? It will be -1. And now what is the further condition here? Okay. Here, what is the further condition here? Not equal to -1. So this find method, what it returns? It returns -1 if this substring is not present inside this DNA sequence. Now -1, so here let me write in comment. So here it will be the meaning that -1 not equal to -1. So this will be the condition internally. Now this means left hand side is not equal to right hand side. So is this condition true, that left hand side is not equal to right hand side? On the left hand side we have -1, on the right hand side we have -1. That means these two are equal. So if I write equal to sign here, so this condition is true, but here I have mentioned not equal to. So in this case, this condition is false. And if this condition is false, Python will execute this line of code. Are we understanding the point? How are we giving a condition here so that Python can execute a particular code? Yes, Savleen, we will run the program, we will see the output, but first of all, tell me, are we understanding the point of this? -1. If you still have confusion, let me know again. For Paras, I will explain it one more time. Paras, look at here. Look at this program, this simple program that we already understand. So this is the variable DNA. This is the string that we have created. This is the print statement. And inside this print statement, we have used this variable name. We have added the dot operator. And upon this, we have called this find method because I want to find ATG. So this ATG, it exists inside this string. That means this find method will return me an index that from where this substring is starting in this string. So here it has returned me 0, that ATG is starting from 0 index. But if I write here ATGG, right? For example, just write G, and here let's write CTT. Okay, now this ATGG, it does not exist here. ATG exists, but ATGG, it does not exist. So if this substring does not exist inside our string, in that case, this find method, it returns us -1. So let's run. So here we are seeing -1. That means this does not exist inside this DNA sequence. So this is the same thing that we have applied here inside our conditional statement. That I want to find, we already understand the meaning of this program here. This is the same meaning. So I want to find ATG from the DNA sequence that the user will enter. So if that sequence, this substring ATG, if it exists in that DNA sequence, that means this find method will return an index, and the index can be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So here now the left hand side value is 0, 1, 2. So let's just assume 2, that this substring exists inside this DNA sequence. So this find method will return us the value 2. Okay, so now we have the index 2. So on the left hand side we have 2, and on the right hand side we have -1. So left hand side is not equal to right hand side. So this condition is true, right? Left hand side is not equal to right hand side. So this condition is true. That means Python will execute this line of code. But if this substring does not exist inside this DNA sequence, so in that case, this find method, it will return -1. Now, -1 is equal to -1, but here we have used not equal to. That means this condition has become false. That left hand side is equal to right hand side, but this operator means not equal to. So this means this condition is false because left hand side is equal to right hand side. So this condition is false. In that case, Python will execute the else statement. Now let's run this program. Now let's write a DNA sequence. Let's write ATG. Okay, so here ATG. So I'm writing ATG in my sequence. Let's write GTTA. Okay, so this is the DNA sequence that the user is entering. Press enter. So here start codon found. So ATG, it existed in this DNA sequence. So find here, return the index 0. 0 is not equal to -1. The condition is true. So Python executed this line of code. Now, for example, you also want to print that what is the index number. So I am talking to you internally how Python is doing the things. So let's write the index number as well, that we also want to print the index number. So here, let's write the variable DNA add dot, call the method find, and let's write ATG. So here again, this is the same meaning that we have written here. Okay, I removed that codes. Does anyone have any question? Thobani, do you have any question? You are raising your hand. Okay, let's just continue. So here, this is the same program that we wrote here in the print statement previously, right? So here, what is the meaning of this? That print DNA, we have called the method find and we have given ATG, means return me the index of ATG. And before that, I am printing this text. Okay, so start codon found, let's write add colon, give some space. Now let's run this program again. So let's write ATGGCT, press enter. So start codon found at, this was the text and we also wanted to print the index. So we wrote this code. So here we are seeing index number 0. Now let's run this program again. Let's write ATCCTTG. Now ATG, this start codon does not exist inside this DNA sequence. Press enter. So what are we seeing? Start codon not found. So Python executed this line of code. So did we understood how we wrote this conditional statement here? Anand, did you understand? Okay, so the only thing is that you need to do some practice, because we can include as many as things to create a conditional statement. So if you are doing some practice, I will provide you notes how you can write many conditional statements. I will provide you all the examples in that notes, but you need to do practice. So as here we understood that if I want to print start codon found, this ATG start codon found, so I here understood about this find method and I wrote -1, and I wanted to print the index as well, that where at which index. So this is the same code that we have been learning about here today and in the string session as well. So you just need some practice, then you will be expert in the conditional statements. Okay. Okay, so let me give you one more thing about the input. So as we have already understood that this input, it always stores the value in the form of a string, right? That means we cannot use another data type. So let me show you the example again. So here, for example, let's write variable age. Let's use the function input. Let's write. So Bani, if you have any question, you can write it in the chat box. Let's write the prompt. Enter your, let's write patient age. Now here, let's create a conditional statement. If age is greater than and equal to 18, so in this case, Python should print us adult patient. Now let's create else statement, that if this condition is false, so in that case, Python should print us minor patient. Now, first of all, tell me, is this program correct? Will this program work? Will this program work? Yes or no? Okay, Ajay is saying no. Harshika, Parth is saying no. So you are saying no. What is the reason? Give me the reason why it will not work. Okay, Ajay, what is a string? So here, if I run this program, enter patient age. So that means I need to give an integer, a number, right? So if I write 56, so 56 here, what is it? 56 here, will it be stored as a string or will it be stored as an integer? Very good, Harshika. I will come on that as well. Right, so when I will press enter, this 56, it will be stored as a string. Now look at here. So now the value of age is 56, right? This 56 will get stored inside this variable. Now the value of age is 56, which is a string. But here 18, it is a number. So what are we doing? We are comparing a string and a number. That means when I will press enter, I will see an error because we cannot compare string and a number. So press enter. So what are we seeing? The type error that this operator does not supported between instances of string and integer. This is the same meaning which I just told you. So here the value of age, what is it? It is a string and this is a number. So that is where we learned about the int function, and we write all of this in parenthesis. So this int function, here it is a function which stands for integer. That means we want to change the data type from string to an integer. So now whatever the answer the user will enter, everything will get stored as an integer. So this is called type conversion. Okay, it is called type conversion, or it is also called typecasting, whatever you want to give it a name. So this type conversion and typecasting, it means you are changing a particular data type into another data type, and here we are changing the string data type into the integer data type. So what are we doing here? We are doing here type conversion, or we are doing here typecasting. So that means when I will click on run, here if I write 55, now this value here, it is now being stored as an integer. So now the value of age is an integer, 18 is also an integer. Now we are comparing two integers, that means we will not see any error. So press enter. So here Python has executed this line of statement, print adult patient, because this condition was true. So do we understand the term typecasting or type conversion, whatever you want to say it? Okay, so this was the first function that we learned about type conversion. So there are many functions to do type conversion. So let's see those functions. So here, let me just copy this one and let's paste it. So here another function is float. Okay, another function is float. Do we remember the float data type? That means the decimal value, right? So we can compare a decimal value with an integer, right? That is possible in Python. So let's run. So first of all, let's write a decimal value 55.0. Press enter. It has executed. Let's run. Let's write integer 55. Press enter. So here again it has executed. So the second function was float to do the type conversion. Another function, let's see how we can make it a list. Let's comment this program. Let's make another conditional statement. So here let's make variable DNA, and here again let's use the function input and write enter DNA sequence, and here in the starting I'm going to use the function list. So we already understand about list. So can you understand what this program will be doing when I will run this? Let me write it completely. Let's write a condition if DNA. So now here, the answer here, whatever the user will enter, it will be stored as a list. That means now this time I can use the list methods. Can I use it now? Because now the value is being stored as a list. So here I have written the name of my variable DNA. Here I have added the dot operator. Now I am seeing all the methods of the list. So let's use this count method that I want to count how many A are there in the DNA sequence. So here what condition I will give? If I want to count how many A bases are there in this DNA sequence, and I want this condition to be true, because if this condition is true, only in that case Python will execute the print statement. So who will tell me what should I write here in order to make this condition true? Who will tell me the answer? Okay, very good, Parth. Greater than and equal to 0. Okay, very good. Akshita, let's take your example. Greater than and equal to 0. That means if this return us 0. So 0 means there is no A base in this DNA sequence. Very good, Shifa. Your answer is correct. Akshita, look at here. If this return us 0, so 0 means there is no value of A in this DNA sequence, and equal to here means if this value is equal to 0, that means this condition is true. So here our idea is wrong, right? So if I write Shifa's answer not equal to 0, right? So the value here, the count here, it will return us that how many times this A exists here inside this DNA sequence, and that value should not be equal to 0. In that case, our condition will be true, right? So here, let's write print statement that adenine found. Okay, A stands for adenine. So here now what we will be doing, we will be adding the else statement. Let's write print that adenine not found. So let's run this program. So here let's enter the DNA sequence ATAAGC. So here we have 3 times A. Press enter. So adenine found. So we executed this code. Python executed this line of code because this condition was true. Now what if I want to see that at which index number the adenine was found? So now who will tell me the answer? The program is similar to this here. Here we write this like this, we write something like this to print the index number of ATG. In the same way, you can write something like this. So who will tell me what should I write here in order to print that at which index number adenine is found? Okay, Shobit, I will show it as well. Don't worry. Very good, parts. We will use the function index. So here, let's write the variable DNA, add the dot method. Here is the index method, and we have to give the input of A. Okay. Now, adenine found at, so here we are printing this text. So let's run it. Let's write ATGAAT. So we have 3 A bases. Press enter. So adenine found at 0. So first of all, Python found the A base at index number 0. So that is why Python returned us 0. So let's print this as well. So here if I write print and this is the variable DNA. So here it will print me the DNA. Here Shobit, now this is your answer. So now what is DNA? DNA is storing a list. That means we are going to see a list. So let's run. Let's write a DNA sequence ATGAAT. So this is the value that we are typing, and it is going to store as a list because we have used the function list. So press enter. So now what are we seeing? This is the text that we wanted to print, and this is the complete DNA. So can we see this? So here at the end, I must have given space. That is why we are seeing this empty. Okay. So here can we see this list, Shobit? Okay, so here what we did typecasting and we used the function list. Yes, in the same way, we have one more function to do typecasting. Let's just complete typecasting today. So here, for example, if I write variable patient ID and I give the ID 101. So what is this? This is an integer. Now what if I want to convert this integer into a string? So either you can write it like this, use the function str, and inside the parenthesis write your integer. So now this is an integer. So this patient ID, this variable is storing, this patient ID is storing a string. Okay, so let's print its data type. Let's print the type of the variable patient ID. Let's run. So here what are we seeing? We are seeing class string because we use the function string. Sazia, if you add it inside quotation marks, so this is a string, but we are learning about typecasting, how we can convert a data type into another data type. So by writing like this, we are converting an integer into a string, and for that we use this function str. Okay, Sazia? So this is one way that you can write it, or another way that you can write it. So here simply let's write 101. Now here let's write the variable again, patient ID, and here let's use the function str, and here write your variable patient ID. So do we understand what are we doing here? Before our variable patient ID, we use the function str. That means here in this line number 101, we updated our variable. So earlier our variable here in line number 100 is storing an integer. But in line number 101, we updated our variable by converting it into a string. Now if I print the type of my variable, let's comment this out. So here, let's copy this again. Let's paste it here. We want to print the type of our variable. So here it will print us class string because we have updated it in line 101. Okay, so here we are seeing class string. So are we clear why it is not printing us integer and it is printing us a string? Because we updated our variable. Okay, so Python is not seeing this value, Python is seeing this updated value. Okay, now the last function that we have to do the typecasting is bool. So here for bool function, let's create another variable DNA. Again, let's use the function input. Let's write enter DNA sequence. Okay, and here use the keyword if, and here I'm going to use the bool function upon my DNA. So do we remember that this bool data type, it only had two values, true and false? Do we remember it? That this bool here, this data type, it only has two values, true and false. So if I write it like this, print DNA sequence received, and here let's write else statement, print no DNA sequence received. Now here what is the meaning of this? So if we enter a DNA sequence, that means there will be a value inside this variable DNA, right? And that value, whatever it is, ATGC, whatever DNA sequence it is, this value, it will be getting converted into true. Okay, so the value will be converted into true. Now, if there is no value, it will be converted into false. So here, if there is any value inside this variable, that is true, our condition is true. So Python will execute this code. If there is no DNA sequence, that means our variable is empty. There is no string, there is no value. So here the string is empty. That means it will be typecast into false. Okay, so bool here, it only has two values, true and false. So first of all, let's write a DNA sequence. Let's write ATGC. So now this value will get stored inside this variable. That means this condition is true. This variable contains something. Now if it contains something, it will get converted into true. So that means Python executed this line of code. Now let's run this program again. So here, if I write nothing here and I just press enter, so I did not give any value, that means my variable is empty. So here it will be false. Okay, so the value will be false. So bool only contains true and false. So are we understanding in which case it is converting into true and in which case it is converting into false? Do we understand this bool here? Let's take a very simple example. For example, if I write print here, I am writing bool and here I write 1, 2, 3. So here I have written an integer. So in this here, what are we doing? We are converting an integer into Boolean data type. That means it will be considered as true. So let's run it. So here we can see true. Now, for example, I just write here an empty string, which we just did in this program. So this is an empty string, means there is nothing. So it will be converted as false. So let's run it. So here we have false. Okay, so we will learn how we can use these Boolean data types. But for now, we needed to understand that in type conversion, we have these functions. We have str function, we have list function, we have float function, we have bool function, and we have int function. And in the same way, we have tuple function and we have set function. So just like here in this program, we used the list function. In the same way, we will write tuple like this. So now this is the tuple function that we have used. That means we have converted a string into a tuple. So now instead of a list, in this previous program we saw a list, we will see a tuple. Okay, in the same way, we will just simply write set. Okay, so here now this program is converted as set. So I will just share you some notes of all of these, but I need you to practice it. So are we clear with this? Today we learned about, let me change it to list again. So today we learned about conditional statements and we learned about type conversion, and in the type conversion there were many functions that we learned, and all of this will be provided in the notes and I need you to practice that. Are we clear? Do we have any question? Okay, very good everyone. So you may leave the today's class. Thank you, Parth. Have a good day, you too. Have a good evening, everyone.